If you scoffed and rolled your eyes before clicking on this video, let me assure you, you're not alone. For me, this all began about 2 years ago when a friend of mine voiced to me that we should take mobile gaming more seriously. My reaction was initially dismissive, but as a person who strives to see another person's point of view, I did listen. I took time to digest, and I really thought about the points that she was making. A majority of people on the planet have access to a mobile device of some sort. Developing a mobile game is, generally speaking, but not always, easier than developing one that is a PC or a console game. These games appeal to various skill levels. And more importantly, these games can be played virtually anywhere that there's a solid internet connection. Now, I'm old school. And my eyesight ain't that great. I prefer my video games to be viewed on a larger screen if possible. And that's kind of why I never really got into playing games on my phone. So when I heard about the size of some of these prize pots, my first reaction was, that much for Candy Crush? After a quick search, I realized that it was much more than Candy Crush or the simple games that you might have on your phone to entertain a cranky preschooler while on an airplane. In this video, I'm going to cover a bit about what I learned about the topic while at an esports summit back in late October, along with some of the articles that I found that kind of echoed some of the sentiments that I heard while I was there, along with some of the things that my very wise friend told me. Quick disclaimer, I'm a shrimp of a content creator, okay? I know, so unbelievable, right? But nobody's giving me anything for free. I paid my own money to attend this esports summit and the DreamHack convention, and no one's given me money to speak favorably or unfavorably about the things that I'm going to talk about in this video. This is all me, baby. Even if I was a larger content creator and I was offered money to say a specific thing, I wouldn't do it. I'm stubborn. You can't make me do or say jack shit. Lend me your ears as I begin the story and set the scene. It is a late October day in Atlanta, Georgia, a place known for its culture and weird restaurant rules, but delicious food and really terrible drivers. And I say that as a Floridian. It's not a fun place to drive. Anyways, I'm going to DreamHack. I'm going to the Esports Summit, and this is the very first time I've ever done anything like this. This is great. Now, DreamHack is a gaming-focused convention, and there's several ones that happen around the globe. The Esports Summit is a conference and networking event that happens in conjunction with DreamHack, usually beforehand, and is part of Games Week Georgia. I attended some interesting panels during the Esports Summit, but by far one of my favorite ones was actually a Q&A session that took place with Todd Harris, co-founder of Hi-Rez. No, he's not with them anymore. If you're not familiar with Hi-Rez, they make games like Smite and Paladins. And then Frank Liu of Thunder Talk Gaming, which is an esports team out of China. These names might not mean much to you, and honestly, that's okay. How well you know these two doesn't really affect much of anything. The point of the talk was to highlight the difference between China's gaming industry and the one here in the US. Namely, because China has the second largest concentration of gamers in the world and is also the second largest economy in the world. It's pretty easy to see that where there are gamers, there's money being spent, and where money is being spent, there's going to be people who are going to want to try to earn that dollar from the people spending the money. In that 15-minute Q&A, one of the first things that popped out to me was when Todd Harris asked Frank Liu what was unique about China's esports ecosystem, to which he responded that the difference lies in two components. The first component is China's global function, meaning that there are several large publishers that are located there, like NetEase, Tencent, MiHoYo, Century Games, and that's just a few. The second is their focus on the mobile esports development. He goes on to explain that even though esports as a whole is still very disorganized, the Chinese government is more supportive over the field than other governments might be. As for the main convention portion of DreamHack Atlanta, which was a sensory nightmare. That was torture, don't make me do it again, please. Anyways, I found something unexpected there, and that would be Clash of Clans and Clash Royale both held their world championships there. And if you don't know what those two things are, they're very popular mobile games. Both games are published by Finnish company Supercell, but back in 2016, Tencent bought about 84% of that company. According to esportscharts.com, both games offered hefty prize pools and broke viewership records. Then, just a few days later, Tencent hosted their Honor of Kings KPL finals in Beijing at the National Stadium to a crowd of 62,196 paying attendees. That is quite the shindig. According to the diplomat.com, tickets disappeared in roughly the time it takes to refresh a screen, roughly 12 seconds, according to event organizers and coverage at the time. A mobile game, long treated in the West as a casual substitute for real gaming, is now big enough in China to justify an Olympic venue, a ticketing rush, and the kind of pilgrimage behavior normally associated with sports finals or pop megatours. It's tempting to treat the bird's nest spectacle as a novelty, a one off Guinness gimmick. That would miss the point. What happened in Beijing is better understood as the visible capstone of a decade long strategy in which Chinese firms and regulators helped make the smartphone the country's default entertainment device, and then treated mobile games as a flagship cultural industry, something to be built, optimized, broadcast, toured, and exported. Beyond that, it points to the global future of games. But all of this is happening in China, so why is it important to pay attention to it here in the West? It's simple. Whether you want to recognize it or not, China has been exercising its soft power within the last few years, with exports ranging from popular video games to movies to dolls. And with some of the biggest video game publishers calling the world's second largest economy home, it's not really hard to see why I think that you should pay more attention to mobile esports. It's already making waves in the Latin American market, and the accessibility of the genre is undeniable. Change can be uncomfortable for some, but it can be utilized well if you learn to adapt. It's easy to write off what I'm saying as something that has translated into success in the eastern half of the world, but could never translate into success in the western half. The caveat to that is that it already has. The gaming industry is going through an overall metamorphosis right now, and with collegiate esports on the rise here in the US, it's easy to see why mobile gaming, something that can be played on ubiquitous and low cost devices, will help fuel that launch as it grows into something more well defined. Anyways, that is my personal take on all of this. Do with this information what you will. Get out of my tavern, you nerds. Bye.